views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
Hello everyone, welcome to Open BxRx Remote, brought to you from my living workspace, Chari Executive Suite. I'm Rhina Valentin, your Schenika Quattlebaum every Friday. Here's what's coming up in today's show. Leading things off, we'll learn the benefits of CMOS when we speak to holistic health coach and energy channeler Glenda Serrano about her new company, Sacred Moss. After that, we'll hear about Up From Ground Zero, a solo exhibition by Elizabeth Burnett showcasing shadow boxes reflecting parts of her history as well as her life. That will be joined by founder and CEO Schenika Quattlebaum, who will discuss her hair and beauty company, Natalia Me-gan Hair and Beauty. And later on in the show, Bobby C brings us an up-to-date with the latest headlines in the world of sports. And lastly, this week's Open Artist Spotlight shines on singer-songwriter and multi-instrumentalist Kiana Corley, who will discuss her latest musical projects, followed by a performance at the end of the show. So sit back y prepárate. All this and more is headed your way, because now we are officially open. Welcome to Open. I'm Rhina Valentin, your host for the next hour, encouraging you to get social with us online. That is, tweet us and follow us on Instagram at BronxNet TV and like us on Facebook at Open BronxNet Television. And of course, while you're there, you can follow moi on Twitter, FB, Instagram, Insta Stories, and LinkedIn at Rhina Valentin. So our first guest is a holistic health coach and energy channeler who believes that everything we need to heal our body is in nature. After her own experience with sea moss, she decided to create Sacred Moss, a sea moss gel infused with crystal shungite and sacred geometry, joining us. And she's here to join us and share more about the benefits of sea moss. Please welcome Sacred Moss founder, Glenda Serrano. Hello and welcome.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. So excited to share all about sea moss and more.
Yeah, we're really looking forward to learning more, especially me. Let's just share with everyone a little bit about the benefits of sea moss, because quite frankly speaking, I found that it was a trend last year, and I myself attempted the sea moss trend, and because I understood that sea moss contains 92 of the 102 minerals that we need in our bodies. However, I will say it wasn't exactly the most pleasant tasting experience.
Yeah, I totally understand that. That is my most asked question, is like, what does it taste like? And it has, first of all, it has so many benefits. You are absolutely right. Our bodies need 102 minerals, and sea moss has 92 of those minerals, right? So overall, I think we are nutritionally deficient. Our food is nutritionally deficient. And I think, you know, it's important to begin to add the nutrition our body needs so it can thrive. As far as the taste, you know, a lot of people who taste it, because I do taste tests whenever I go somewhere and I have sea moss, and they're like, oh, it really doesn't taste like much, or it really doesn't taste like anything. For me, also, it's about the texture. It's very gelatinous. It's like almost like a collagen. So I hide it in things. Some people can love to eat it right off the spoon and think the taste is fine. And for me, I'm like, okay, I'm going to put it in my smoothie and my juice and my, you know, whatever else to hide it and just blend it. And I think it's a great way to get the nutrition that you need without worrying about the flavor.
And so how much of it is recommended on a daily basis? Let's say from your gel jar.
Yeah, great question. So recommended is 1 to 2 teaspoons daily.
1 to 2 teaspoons daily, and that could be directly from the spoon and or inserted in whatever drink or food that I guess it will complement.
Absolutely. So it's actually, I'm sorry, it was tablespoons, 1 to 2 tablespoons daily is recommended. And yeah, you can hide it. And I also believe that, you know, listen to your body, what you need. Sometimes we're like, okay, let's start 1 tablespoon and see how it goes. And if your body's like, okay, we can do 2 tablespoons. And I think it's a process to learn to listen to what our body needs as well.
Okay, so what compelled you to become so engulfed in creating this sacred moss?
Yeah, great question. Well, first I was using it for myself. I started using it for myself. You know, my partner was using it. And I'm like, what is this sea moss thing? And he's been using it. It's been in his family since he was a child. I was like, all right, so let's try it. He's Jamaican. So I was like, let's give it a try. And I quickly noticed like a change in my energy levels, in my mental clarity. Also, my hair started, I have a lot of hair, but you know, when it's shedding, I'm getting older, my hair starts to shed. I noticed that my hair stopped shedding so much, you know, when I was washing and combing out. So I was like, okay, this feels really good. I need to share this. And so that was the beginning of Sacred Moss, and it's, you know, sea moss sharing, and it has been a journey since then.
Okay, so those are the benefits from your personal experience. Do you know what the benefits are aside from the mineral nutrition that one attains from just consuming it on a regular basis?
Yes, absolutely. So it's great for energy levels, to improve energy levels. It's great to boost your immune system, which right now in this day and age, you know, that's a big conversation. Helping to keep our immune system strong and healthy. I mean, nutrients, minerals are an important part of keeping our immune system healthy. It's great for thyroid health, hormone health. It's a natural libido booster. It's anti-inflammatory. There's so many things. It goes on and on and on.
What about estrogen?
Well, that helps with hormone levels, right? So it helps with hormone levels. It helps to balance hormone levels. It really does.
That's good. That's good to know. That's good to know. That's inspiring right there.
Yeah.
Rather motivating to kind of go, you know what, let's give it another try. So let's talk about you identifying as an energy channeler and how that also contributes to your sacred moss, because I read that your sacred moss is made with intentional vibration, aside from the nutrients, and that you also incorporate crystals and sacred geometry. Can you share all of these other components that go into this jar that people purchase from you?
I'd love to. Thanks for that question. Yeah, I think it's so important to be intentional with what we consume and what we put in our bodies. And intentional mean is like, instead of like just consuming things because someone told you to, or, you know, like, okay, I'm taking this for my health, I'm taking this for my well-being. And so when I create and actually put intention and energy into my sacred moss, I infuse it. There's such a deep reverence, like this comes from Mother Nature. And I remember when I first got my first box and I opened it, like I got emotional holding it. Like, I know that sounds silly, but I connected with the abundance of Mother Nature, of Pachamama, as we call it, as of Gaia. And I connected with the abundance that she gives, because nature really provides everything that we need. So I come and infuse it with so much healing intention. I channel my own energy, and I say, like, may this be the highest healing intention for every person who consumes it. I make it in small batches, so it's not like a mass production. And that's my intention piece. The shungite piece is, you know, I started making it, I started drinking it myself. I'm like, this uses a lot of water. We need high quality water in this. It's so much water to make sea moss gel. So as I started researching, shungite actually enhances the benefits of the water with its physical and spiritual properties. It's actually an antioxidant. It's great for skin health. It's great for inflammation in the body. So it was a great complement to sea moss overall. And sacred geometry, it just came to me, honestly. I was like, I need to incorporate sacred geometry. And sacred geometry is a natural pattern in nature. And this is the sacred geometry here, which I put on the logo. It's a flower of life. And the flower of life, the vibration is harmony, order, and vitality. And actually, it infuses that frequency into the water, which infuses our body on a cellular level.
Wow, talk about mindfulness.
There you go.
Nice. So I really need to, shungite, this is the first time I'm ever hearing about it. Can you just elaborate a little bit more on this particular water that you're referencing?
Yes, well, I actually get it from a place in Montclair called Thought and Motion Water Bar, and they have a whole shungite crystal filtration system. I haven't gotten to there yet. I will get there, but I use their water. It's super high charged, and they have a whole filtration system where I go and I get the water, and then I actually infuse that shungite water into a glass jar that's embossed in sacred geometry in the flower of life pattern. So it sits in that frequency and actually restructures the water. there's research on restructuring water and frequency out there as well.
That's amazing. I love all this language, the consciousness and the frequency. And, you know, I've actually seen the difference of cared for water versus neglected water energetically. So let's close out with your energy channeling.
Yes. So that's what I do. Before I, even start to work with the moss or make the moss, I actually have an altar and I pray and I, call in my ancestors and guides to channel the highest frequency possible into the sea moss for the highest healing of all. So I bring it in. I think it's an important, it's like, when we get chicken soup from a restaurant or chicken soup from my mom, for mom, that's a whole difference because, mom is infusing it with an energy and love and intention and healing. And I like to think that, I know that I'm bringing that same energy and intention and frequency and healing into my moss as well.
Especially because you're definitely bringing it from Pachamama, and you're educating people in the process of using food as medicine. And thank you for bringing it here to our viewers. Glenda Serrano, founder of Sacred Moss. And you guys, if you're interested in Sacred Moss, all you got to do is visit the website, sacredmoss.co. All right, we have to take a quick break, but when we return, we're going to hear about a solo exhibition showcasing art from Ground Zero. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. So the Kente Royale Gallery is featuring a new solo exhibition entitled Up from Ground Zero, which showcases handcrafted shadow boxes that tell unique stories of social circumstances from the perspective of the artist. Each piece represents a part of her life and history, defeating all odds in the face of adversity. And joining us to tell us more, please welcome artists Elizabeth, Queen, and Burnett. Hello and welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Congratulations on your exhibition.
Thank you. It's going really well. People are really receptive to it, and I'm really proud because I was afraid it was going to be emotional for too many people, and it has been, but in a good way.
Well, first of all, I really appreciate the Kente Royale Gallery for all the work that they've been doing to serve our local artists, our people of color artists, and especially based on where they're located, right? Which is on 139th Street and Adam Clayton Powell Jr. Boulevard. And so that being said, let's talk about your journey into exhibiting solo here at this gallery. How did you even come about the gallery, and what made you share your story in this way?
Well, I guess I frequent the gallery a lot, and I'm so impressed by the different artwork that comes in, the genres. It's about the community or it might be personal. And I was given this opportunity when I came over and expressed to him that I'd like to show some pieces one day. And he didn't even know that I worked at Ground Zero. And a lot of people I never shared it with. And for some reason, for it being 20 years, I wanted to really express myself and share my artwork. And a lot of pieces are memorabilia from working at Ground Zero, which a lot of people never knew what I did, and in construction. And a lot of pieces have to do with just the whole time, the many years things going by, like the incident with Yusef Salam and the Central Park Five. And I did a piece called Holocaust that has to do with the Holocaust, but it also ties into, there's a book out called Hitler's Black Victims, which a lot of people don't know. There were African Americans also in the concentration camp, and German and African soldiers that were left behind and experimented on by Hitler called The Violent Children. And I also did a piece that felt very emotional to me called Sandy Storm, when the two young boys were lost by their mother's arms. Glenda Moore, the Sandy Storm, she was trying to find refuge through the hurricane and her kids were washed away. And then the rest of my work is just things I've done over the years about protests. My son is an artist, and we were talking about, you know, the climate and the time, and he was like, my whole life has been a pandemic. So I created one about that. I created stuff about, you know, having to do with the Black Lives Matter, just, you know, a bunch of different, you know, issues that are going now that are not addressed.
So basically, are you saying that you are on display right now, sharing all of these stories that have been occurring within the past 20 years that you've experienced, and you're doing it in the style that actually has them contained in a box? So can you just share why contained in a box?
Well, to me, it's sort of like, you know, things that you go through in life, and it always sticks in the back of your brain, whichever part of the brain that it is. It's always small, but it's always there. And it always resonates, and sometimes it triggers. Like when I finally left working at Ground Zero, I was an operating engineer and I did many jobs. I was on various pieces of equipment down there. From every piece of equipment that ran, either I maintained or I was on generators to make sure there were lights. I did so many multitask things down there, which a lot of other construction workers, you know, work down there, we worked down there together. And it just, I didn't want to think about it when I left. And I never brought anything up, and it actually took me 20 years to start working on putting this together. When I was down there, I was so overwhelmed, and I had a therapist that had me do art therapy because I told her that, you know, I love doing artwork and little shadow box. And she said, you need to make one about what's going on now, because they'd actually sent some of the workers, because it was so tumultuous working down there, to, I don't want to say the hospital, but to get therapy. And one of the women there that was a psychiatrist tried to have me, I guess, put away and analyzed. And she actually sent ACS to my house because she thought I was so depressed, I might take my life working down there.
Oh,
so
my.
I never got I never got the help I needed. A lot of situations that construction workers had to go through down there working with the long hours. A lot of people lost relationships, marriage broke off, a lot of people got sick.
And then you as a woman,
away.
We also can't forget the fact that you're a woman working in a male-dominated field.
Well, that's another issue, but
yeah, we don't have the time for that.
Yeah, but let's talk about the fact that I was a Black woman down there, and I had access to so many places because of who I was in the union as an operating engineer. And me and a lot of the other operating engineers, and this was all of us, we caught so much flack through the Port Authority police and other people just wanting to know what we did. And, you know, they didn't understand what we did down there. We cleaned out a hole in 6 months, but they didn't understand all the other facets of what operating engineer. So it became sometimes a fight between Port Authority or, you know, I remember one time they had, they were trying to scale down the presence of the construction workers and the firemen, and that didn't go well. And we wound up being with the firemen and siding with them because there were so many, you know, people were looking for their family members. They were trying to get closure. Yeah. And this was like, you know, 5 and 4 months, and they wanted to scale down and put more presence, but less workers. And, it was it didn't go well. Let's put it there.
No,
And it was,
and you know what? I got to tell you, just listening to you and knowing that you shared with us, and thank you for sharing that you did go through therapy, and that therapy led you into art therapy, which led you into becoming this exhibited artist that is on display right now, sharing your story and your process, your therapeutic process, because the way you're explaining it, it's almost as if though it was yesterday, and that's 20 years ago.
yeah. And it took me 20 years to get to this spot that I even wanted to share this in my story. And I started by like, how do I do this? How do I show people my work? How do I open my vulnerability and let people know what I did? Because I'm very conservative. I really don't like to say what I've done, but I wound up just taking snapshots and just blowing them up and making pictures and plastering it on the wall, because years ago in the early 80s, I started when I was 18 in construction. Right. And back then I was a little naive, and you didn't have a lot of choices as an African American, because the streets were flooded with crack, and you still had heroin, and either you were hustling, you went to college, or you worked in civil service or something, and you had construction. And there wasn't a lot of us in construction that chose that path. Right. And I think I did well in it.
Well, here you are, able to talk about your construction, able to be on display, showing a different path, right? Expressing yourself and healing yourself and those who come by the Kente Royal Gallery in the process. So I want to thank you for bringing it here to our show. I understand that you're going to be on exhibition for a little longer, right? Until August 8th. And Elizabeth, Queen, and Burnett, thank you so much. I wish we had more time, but really, we want everybody to come through, and I think we shared enough for them to understand.
They're going to be
it's going to be an experience. You're welcome, honey. All right, you guys, once again, Up from Ground Zero is going to be up on display until August 8th at the Kente Royal Gallery, located at 2373 Adam Clayton Power Jr. Boulevard off of 139th Street. And if you're interested in more information, you can visit kenteroyalgallery.com.
Yes.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we return, we're going to hear how one entrepreneur is changing the beauty industry. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. Our next guest is taking the hair and beauty industry by storm with her fairly new company, Natalia Me-gan Hair Beauty. The brand includes a wide variety of cruelty-free hydrating luxury matte lipsticks, lip glosses, and 3D mink faux lashes. My faves. Her products have been seen on celebrities such as Jennifer Hudson and Mariah Carey, and that's just to name a few. And recently, she's been featured on a billboard in Times Square, and she's here to tell us more. Please welcome founder and CEO of Natalia Me-gan Hair Beauty, Schenika Quattlebaum. Hello and welcome.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh, we are so excited to have you on. You have quite the story.
Thank you, thank you.
I mean, I gave everybody a little taste of I guess, your origins, but I want to take it all the way back to your motivation and, of course, a little bit of your hardship, because I think it's important for us to share with our viewers the incredible woman that you are and the transformative life that you've created for yourself.
Thank you. Thank you. So let's take it back. I am a domestic violence survivor, and that motivated me to start my company. I used makeup to mask a lot of scars, bruises, that sort of thing. And it just made me feel better. It made me feel normal leaving out of the house. I was able to hide the black eyes and all of that. And then I thought to myself, this is what I want to do. This is what I want, my own makeup line. I've always wanted it, but that was like the fuel to the fire for me. And fortunately, at the time, I could not focus on that because, again, I was still in that same relationship.
How long did you endure that relationship?
Too long.
Too long?
Too long. 6 years.
6 years that you were dealing with this physical abuse in which you used makeup to cover it up so that you could feel functional outside of your immediate household.
Yes.
And then in 2018, you took
in
the plunge?
2018, it was time. I was like, okay, I've survived that. I went through counseling. I did everything that I knew to do to get myself back together. And that's when I focused full steam ahead on creating my company, Natalia Me-gan.
I got to tell you, it's an amazing story. And there's more we're going to share with you guys. But first, let's talk about the name that you gave the company. Who is Natalia Me-gan?
That is my granddaughter. Her American name is Natalie Me-gan. Her Dominican name is Natalia Me-gan, as she's part Dominican. So I was like, that's perfect.
And why did you name it after your granddaughter?
It just rang. I love the name. I fell in love with the name when I asked her mom. I said, okay, what is Natalie's Dominican name? And I said, that just flows. It sounds elegant, it sounds spicy, and that was what I was looking for.
Well, how awesome is that? I mean, how awesome she must feel. How old is she?
She's 5, she'll be 6 in November, and she is in love with the company. She wants me to show her how to make lip glosses. So
of course. Of course, you're paving the way for her. And she's got a whole company named after her.
She does.
All right, so let's talk about your choice in makeup design, right? So you started off mentioning how you were wearing it to cover up your bruises, and I really want to acknowledge you for being brave and just living your truth and stepping out of that fog that you had been enduring for so many years.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a journey. It still is to this day.
I know, but you know what? Your story is a story of resilience. It's a story of hope and a story of success, because I still haven't even shared with everyone where you're at now, right? So we only got up to 2018, and I know we don't have all the time in the world. However, right. I want to share with them how important it is to always never give up on your dreams is really the story behind. Yes. Yeah.
Never give up.
And the fact that you basically took something that was assisting you in your hurt, right, in your pain, and then made it your baby in essence, right? You created this company, but not only that, you started creating the makeup. So let's talk about the way you're making the makeup, because there's a consciousness that goes along with that as well.
There is. I started out with deeper colors. Like the deeper reds, the deeper purples, the browns, the darker browns, just because when I was going through, red was my favorite color, and it always brightens up your day. Purple is a fun color, it's royalty. Then you want it to have a nude color, that's the mahogany, which is a deeper brown. And from there, it started in my kitchen. I started literally making my lip glosses in my kitchen. And we've progressed as the company has progressed now, of course. So now we have, over 30 something odd colors, and anywhere from the light pink to the blue and green. So we cover the board with colors now.
Don't you have some in your possession that you can show us right now?
I do. So this is Peekaboo, and this is one of our nude colors here. I also have a purple. This is a matte. This is Duchess. And then, of course, I mentioned my red. This is one of the deeper reds, which is called Wicked.
Nice, nice, nice. So which is the one that's taking, I guess, the industry by storm? Is it more of the lip gloss? Is it the actual eyelashes? Is it the lipstick, or is it all of them? Because I want to share with everyone your biggest vendor right now, which is so exciting.
It is. Surprisingly, it's all of them. But I must admit, the one thing that's really taken off on the eyelash side is when I launched my magnetic lashes, because anyone can wear them, and it's literally just the eyeliner and it adheres to the lash, so there's no glue. So I must say though, lip wise, now that we're transitioning from, we're kind of transitioning from COVID, lip glosses are really popping again. During COVID, of course, it was the matte. Unless people were working from home, then it was still lip gloss because you have Zoom meetings.
Got it. And so, I'll be honest with you, even wearing masks, I still put lipstick and lip gloss
Me
on.
too.
Right? I was just raised to never leave the house without something on your lips.
Same here. Even going to the grocery store, I always put something on my lips.
Exactly. So, we gave everybody a little taste of your trajectory, and that, we went up to 2018. You already shared that it all started in your kitchen. You've got how many different colors now? Like 30?
We have over 30 different colors.
Over 30 different colors. Yeah. And the beauty of all of this, which I'm so excited to share with you guys, is that Walmart picked her up.
Yes.
That is amazing.
Yeah, I know. I'm still in awe that all of this happened, especially in the times that we're in. I was able to secure this.
Right, because this all happened like during the pandemic, right?
During the pandemic, yes. During the pandemic, it all came together.
Talk about magnificence and just divine intervention, and just, again, just believing in your dreams and sticking to whatever it is that you're being called to do. Congratulations to you, because that's a really big deal.
Thank you. It definitely is. I'm still in awe.
So are you able to keep up with the demands of Walmart's orders?
I am. I actually am. I was fully prepared for this.
So basically you're not working out of your kitchen anymore.
No, ma'am. We have definitely grown.
And I'm so excited for you, and I'm so excited to share this with our viewers. I especially appreciate your transparency and sharing your story and your truth, and just coming out of it victoriously. It's amazing.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you having me on your show.
Well, we appreciate having you, and we look forward to hearing more about your brand that's named after your granddaughter, Natalia Me-gan.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Well, thanks for being with us, Schenika Quattlebaum, founder and CEO of Natalia Me-gan Hair and Beauty. And you guys, once again, if you're interested in either eyelashes, lip gloss, lipstick, is there anything else I missed?
Mascara, eyeshadow.
Mascara, eyeshadow, it's a whole beauty line. And guess what? It's all available at Walmart now, and Walmart online. Once again, that's Me-gan Hair and Beauty. And if you're interested in learning more, you can visit nataliambeauty.com. All right, don't go anywhere. Bobby C's Weekly Sports Roundup is coming up next.
Thrilled to be joined by Bellator MMA President Scott Coker this morning. Scott, how's it going? So great to see you.
Doing great. It's a beautiful day here in Los Angeles.
Great day here in New York City, and you have no idea the amount of brownie points that I'm going to be getting in the office because our executive director, Michael Max Nabi, is a huge MMA fan and even bigger Bellator fan. He's so jealous of this interview that I'm having with you this morning.
Well, tell him, listen, give me an address. We'll send you some nice Bellator gear. We got some good stuff coming out.
That's awesome. Among the long list of negatives, about working from home these days is that I miss shadowboxing Michael Max at the studio. I think he might be the greatest shadow boxer of all time. He usually beats me, so.
That's funny.
And obviously doing big things with the promotion. What's on tap for Bellator for the remainder of 2021? I feel like we're flying through the calendar this year.
Yeah, I mean, we had some great fights. We just announced one, which was Douglas Lima fighting MVP2. And we're doing it at the SSA Arena at Wembley in London on October 1st. And, as you guys know, this year we launched with Showtime, and we have this great relationship with Showtime. And when I think about Showtime's boxing offering 20 fights a year and Bellator MMA offering of 20 fights a year, man, that's the best deal in combat sports is the Showtime subscription, because you get 40 fights a year, for the subscription price. And, you get all the Bellator fights. We got the fight in Russia. We just announced with Fedor about 3 weeks ago. We'll announce next week who the opponent will be. But I think you'll see some familiar faces on the undercard that maybe you haven't seen in a while in Bellator. I think we have an amazing Russian roster of talent. And when I say Russia, I also mean the CIS territories surrounding Russia. And I think that if Usman is healthy, we definitely were going to invite him to go fight over there. And then, that we have, we're probably averaging about 2 fights a month. And that's what, and we'll have some more fights announced. But you're going to see Gegard Mousasi August 13th. You're going to see Cheikhanga Karatanov on the 20th. And before the end of the year, you'll probably see Chris Cyborg fight again. And, we're just going to keep this ball rolling.
That's tremendous. And for our fans at home, you have a really interesting story yourself. You grew up in Korea. You were a martial artist, a 7-degree black belt, and we share a love of Bruce Lee. I figured you would really appreciate this because I know that this is in your closet as well. What lessons has the sport and the legendary Bruce Lee taught you about life?
I'll tell you, man, I could go on for hours and hours on this topic because it's just anybody that grew up in my era is just a fan of Bruce Lee. And even today, he resonates with the kids because when you think about like and I've been studying this and I talked to a lot of people that he trained with, and I've met a lot of people that he, were either working out with or his students. And I was just trying to figure in the era of that time, right? And you're way too young. So but you've probably heard it's the karate guy didn't train with the kung fu guy, and the kung fu guy didn't train with the jiu-jitsu guy, and the judo guy hated the taekwondo guy, right? So it was really my style at that time is like the best style, and nobody cross-trained with anybody. And so to me, that's what I've been trying to figure out is like, his JKD style is like, how did he get there? How did he get there in a couple of years from doing a very linear Wing Chun style, where it's his technique looked a lot different in Green Hornet. Let's say it's then Enter the Dragon, and it was like 6 years later. How did he get there? How did he connect the dots? And when you look at the opening scene in Enter the Dragon, right, it's MMA. He's got the shorts, the open finger boxing gloves, and he punched, he kicked, he grappled. I don't think there was wrestling, but judo and submission. I mean, he did it all. And so to me, it's like how in the 70s, man, that was just unheard of. I was there. I was there like after he passed, I started, studying, but it wasn't until Hoist Gracie came around and said, hold on, guys, you guys got it all wrong. Like you need to have jujitsu too as part of your curriculum, and so then you watch the whole evolution of martial arts fighting from that point in 93 till today. And it's proven you need to have, multiple styles to be effective. But Bruce was doing it in the 60s and the 70s. He was, way ahead of his time. And so to me, that's I think the genius of him is how did he envision all this? And at that time, can you imagine telling like a kung fu instructor, hey, your technique kind of sucks and you're not really that good and it will never work in a street fight. That probably didn't go over too well, those conversations, right? So anyway, I still love him, and it's like it's something that I've it's been a lifelong journey, really, just kind of trying to study his philosophy and his style and his beliefs.
Same here. Love Bruce Lee, no doubt about it. So, you have 30 years of promoting in this business. You built Strikeforce, which is an amazing success story, and your presence really has provided Bellator immediate results these years. How have you been able to attract the sport's top free agents, develop homegrown prospects, and even expand internationally?
It's just something I feel like I'm destined to do, right? And Strikeforce MMA came in 2000, was really born in 2005. We did a first fight in 2006. And there was probably from 1985 when I first started doing kickboxing shows. In fact, I talked to Joe Corley. I'm not sure if you know Joe Corley, but he was the first guy that had an ESPN contract on for kickboxing. It was called the PKA. 8 kicks per round. You had to wear the long pants. In the 80s, everybody had a mullet. It's like it was just part of the curriculum. And so I was talking to him about it, and I said, Joe, I did my first fights with you in 1985 and 86. We had our first TV contract with ESPN in 1986, and then we did Strikeforce kickboxing from 93 till 2006. And so, I think that the knowledge of being in the martial art fight business, the knowledge of understanding martial arts, understanding the fighters, and I'm in that gym. I talk to all the guys that not all the guys, but I would say a lot of the guys that I do business with, right, were guys that fought for me are now MMA trainers, like Javier Mendez, who owns AKA. People don't realize it, but he was one of my martial arts students back in the early 80s. And he came to me one day, said, I don't really want to go take my black belt test. I want to go be a fighter. And I said, well, I was already promoting. So I started promoting his fights. Mike Winklejohn from Jackson Winklejohn, he fought for me too before as a kickboxer in the 80s. And so a lot of these great kickboxers became MMA trainers. And so Duke Rufus of the world, we're talking guys that have had relationships for like 30 years or 25 years. So, we have great relationships in the industry. And I think people, trust that when they come here, they're going to be taken well care of. And, I think that one of the things I really learned working for Mr. Ishii in K1 was that the fighter is, the warrior, right? The fighter is the warrior. He used to tell me this all the time. He says, they are the ones stepping on the mat. They are the ones stepping into the ring. You have to be respectful of the fighters because they are the ones that have the Bushido spirit, right? And so I always, that always stuck in my mind was, hey, that they are the product, right? And then we have to take care of them, and we have to, give them the opportunity to, compete and do it. But we have to make it a good environment for them to grow. And I think we've done that in Strikeforce, and we've done it here. And I think that relationships and taking care of the athletes goes a long way. And very rarely, listen, nobody's happy all the time. You know how that is, right? But I would say most of the time, our fighters are happy to be here, and we try to take really good care of them.
No, I've seen what you've been able to do, Scott. I mean, our cameras were there for Bellator 180 in New York City at Madison Square Garden. I mean, it's hard to believe that was 2017, but that was some card that was
wow.
And what you guys have been able to accomplish, I think, is outstanding.
Yeah, thank you. And it's been a lot of work, and I definitely feel like these international fights that I feel like it's kind of getting back to normal a little bit. Of course, COVID's still here. There's this, it's creeping back in, so to speak. But 3 weeks ago, I was in my neighborhood, honestly, like eating at a restaurant, hanging out, thinking about going to the movies now because, people are vaccinated, and it's not like it was, 6 months ago. But, now that it's creeping back, I think people just have to be careful. And, and then hopefully in the next 3, 4, or 5 months, it'll go away. But man, I'm ready to go on the road. I'm ready to do fights all over the world again, like we were doing, and keep growing this brand and, onward and upward.
Oh, absolutely. Thanks so much for spending some time with us.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
everyone, welcome back. Our last guest is a singer, songwriter, and multi-instrumentalist from Lancaster, Pennsylvania, who draws her influence from acoustic soul artists such as Leanne La Havas and Corinne Bailey Ray. And her music is soulful with a mixture of pop and folk. And well, she's performed in venues across Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, New York City. And today she's here to discuss her new music. Please welcome Kiana Corley. Hey, welcome.
Hi, thanks so much for having me. Thank you so much.
Oh, our pleasure, our pleasure. We love highlighting artists, especially during this time as we begin reopening. And although I mentioned all these wonderful places that you performed, we are always interested in discussing what the pandemic has done for you, your artistry, your creativity, and how you were able to basically present based on the circumstances.
Well, the pandemic was a lot for everybody. I think we all can say that. And definitely a lot of lows, but I think one of the highs that I got was how much time I had to write. I've never written so much. I wrote so many songs because there was nothing else for me to do, really. And there's a lot of self-reflection that I did through writing and just through just being by myself and just getting to know myself, which was really important. And yeah, it was really honestly really healing. A lot of things were really healing about it. And then I was able to make music with my friends with the songs that I'd written after we were in the green and everything. And I had so much material to work off of. So I think that's one of the ways that the pandemic actually did something good for me personally. So.
No, it's good. And it's thank you for sharing it because we have to focus on the upside of it because we've been fed so much negativity within that year of 2020 that our conversations need to be based on the other side, you know, being on the other side. And so the upside for you is that you were able to write a lot of songs and hence actually releasing your first single at the top of 2021, right?
Yeah, I released a song called Lukewarm, which is one of the songs I wrote in quarantine. And yeah, no, it's about, you know, that time in your life where you're with like a person for a long time and you're like, okay, things are kind of just in this weird limbo. And I wanted to write a song about that because I didn't hear of a lot of songs that talked about that feeling. And I feel like a lot of people that have been with somebody for a long time have kind of known what that's like. So yeah.
Yeah. And so just recently, April 2021, you released the entire EP. So how many songs are in that EP?
5. There are 5 songs.
There are 5 songs. And so again, we opened up just sharing all the writing that you did in 2020 and now releasing your first single in January 2021, now your EP in April 2021. I understand you have another EP coming up in August of 2021. You were busy.
No, I wrote, I'm telling you, I wrote so much. So yeah, in August 20th, it's actually just one song. And yeah, I'm really excited for it because it sounds different from the EP I just put out. So I'm excited for that one.
Okay, I oversold you. I was like, oh, a whole nother EP in August, but it's a single. It's a single, and I understand you're titling it Rent, right? Was that okay to say that?
Mm-hmm.
Why? Why did you name it Rent?
Because in this song, I just talk about a person living rent free in my head. I'm just like, you should be paying rent, like seriously. So that's kind of why I named the song that. And then I just have a lot of things that talk about it and I kind of play off of that theme. So I wanted to name it that.
You know, the fact that you released this music in 2021 and the fact that it was written in 2020, I say this pretty much to every artist that we have on, it's going to hold so much more value than just a regular release because of the time period in which you released it. This particular era is going to live for hundreds of years to come. So I want to acknowledge you and congratulate you on making it your business to produce during this time of hardship.
Oh, well, thank you. thank you so much for saying that. Yeah, I mean, it was a lot sometimes, but for me, and I think a lot of artists feel the same way, like I kind of needed it to cope, you know, with everything, all the craziness, like not even with pandemic, just all the other stuff happening in the world around that time. I'm just like, okay, let me just go to my corner and just write it out. So it definitely was like needed for me. And again, it was a lot. Like I definitely, you know, understand that not everybody was able to work through things. And I think that everybody dealt with things, you know, 2020 in their own ways, and every way that people dealt with things was just valid, you know. But for me personally, I'm like, okay, this is how I cope. I'm just gonna work through it, write through it.
So you use writing as your form of therapy, and now creating music along with these wonderful singles and EPs. And so before we go, have you transferred over to performing in person?
Yeah, thank God.
How's that been for you?
Thank you. I had some shows in June, because venues didn't slowly open, they just kind of opened all at once, and I was like, okay. So I played around my hometown. I have some shows in New York actually that I'm excited about, and I just kind of want to go, you know, as safely as possible, you know, like, and yeah, so I'm finally playing live again, and it's incredible. I think the first time I played live after the time that I was in, I almost cried, because I missed it so much.
I get it. Trust me, I do stage performances as well. And the first time I got on stage, I was so emotional to be in the presence of people and have that energetic exchange. Even though we're exchanging right now, it's just not the same, just relating in this box. So congrats on all that you've accomplished. We look forward to hearing more when you do come to New York. I know you're going to play, you're going to give us our own exclusive version of Lukewarm, right? So
yeah.
I want to invite you guys to don't go anywhere, because of course we got to take a quick break. But when we return, Kiana Corley is going to perform her single Lukewarm for us. So don't go anywhere. Welcome back. Here now to perform her new single, Lukewarm. Please welcome Kiana Corley.
I love is like lukewarm coffee in the morning. Not a bad taste, just a little cold. Still as smooth as ever, but doesn't go down as easy. Just gets the job done, nothing else. Baby, that's all we do for each other anymore. That's all we do. We could add a fire, but we lost the spark. Nothing that I ever do ignites your heart. Oh, I wanna be the extreme, but we're stuck watching TV. You're not looking at me, stuck in the center of lukewarm. Your mind is like an evening sky before a storm. I used to see us so damn clear. Both the judgment started, we just can't see eye to eye. Just clearing up the damage and nothing else. Baby, that's all we do for each other anymore. That's center of lukewarm. Cause when the sweet is now dull, what burned in our souls doesn't get enough energy for you to say you love me. And I try to get some peace of mind with the fact that what we see now ain't what it used to be. And I give anything for things to be either hard as a leather, freezing us the cell that your heart's locked up in. Cause this give and take will break and now we're stuck in the center of. Nothing that I ever do ignites your heart. Oh my love, either extreme, but we're stuck watching TV. Yeah, we're stuck watching TV. You're not looking at me, so you're in the center of the lukewarm. So stuck in that center.
For more information on Kiana Corley, please visit kianacorley.com. Make sure to follow her on Instagram at Kiana Corley Music. That is our show today, mi gente. Thanks to all our guests for coming through, and to you, our viewers, for tuning in. If you missed any part of the show, you can check out the recablecast tonight, 24 hours a day, at proxnet.tv. I'm Rhina Valentin, and from all of us here at Open, may the universe provide us prosperity y amor.